And boy, just can't say enough good things about him. There aren't enough adjectives, so I can't tell you. That's what it boils down to, so I just bluff a little bit.
We're going to find out later with Bob Hurricane Hanna what's happening with those two riders here tonight. First, let's check the weather. Tremendous rain here, threatened actually to wash out this event. To find out how close a call we had here, let's go to the second of our pit reporters, former World Speedway champion Bruce Penhall.
Thanks, Dave. We've had at least 15 inches of rain here in California over the last month. Now, that's good for the California drought, but it's bad for the track builders here at the Anaheim Stadium. Now, despite the sloppy conditions, the racetrack is in, and it's in great shape. Now, even though we've had a lot of rain, the weather conditions tonight are absolutely perfect. And Bob Hanna is standing next to a couple of guys that I'm sure is a lot more happy about the overall conditions than what we are. Bob?
Thanks, Bruce. With me is veteran Supercross racer Jeff Stanton and his rookie teammate Jeremy McGrath. Jeremy, has anybody ever told you you can't be as cool, calm, and collective as you've been and be as fast as you have the last couple of weeks?
Well, Bob, I've been just giving it my best. I've been trying to, follow maybe a little bit in the footsteps of Jeff. His consistency's paid off for him in the years, and I had some consistency in the 125, so hopefully it's going to be good for me.
Does this championship mean a lot to you? Are you out there for a learning experience this year?
Well, I'm out there for both. I want to win some races and I want to learn a lot, but, if the championship comes, well, then it comes. But, I'm not expected to win that this year. If I do, great.
All right. The other half of this team is a lot of experience, a three-time Supercross champion, but the last couple of weeks you haven't been riding quite up to your potential.
No, it's like a lot like slow love, Bob. The slower you start, the better it finishes.
Do you think in tonight's race, the next couple of weeks, you're going to be able to turn that trend around?
I sure hope so. I look forward to racing here in front of Anaheim. It's going to be a great crowd. Look forward to getting that first win.
All right, good luck. Back to you guys.
Will Team Honda find the groove? Might Kawasaki score another victory here tonight? What about Suzuki and the Yamaha? We'll find out the story when we come back. On the right, the newcomer, Brian Swink. On the left, the veteran, Guy Cooper. Team Suzuki getting ready for action on a racetrack that was really threatened by all the rain here, Larry.
Well, it really was. As Penhall said, though, we have great weather here tonight. They covered the dirt outside before they brought it in. Then once they got it inside, they covered it again. So no water has hit the track in recent days, and it's in fine shape.
Bob Hanna takes a look at the most difficult obstacle out there tonight.
Triple jumps are probably the most spectacular part of any Supercross track. They're also the reason I don't ride anymore. Today's riders, though, take them in stride, but races are won and lost in the triples.
Well, there's different types of triples. Some triples, they're steep, some are not so steep. So when you go into a triple that's really steep, you pre-jump going up to it and press down on the bike and get some spring out of it. Not so steep triple, you go up to the triple and just use all the power, the power band that you have, so just to clear it.
Early on in the stage, I'm probably just a little bit tight, but whenever we get down to the main event, we've all done the jump several times, maybe several hundred times, if we got enough practice on it. And so it starts to feel real natural. And if the takeoff is nice and smooth, it's got a good little lip on the top of it, it gets us up in the air enough. Up there, it can take some breathers, or you can whip it around and get the crowd behind you. And it's fun for me to just get loose. And it's also a time, even though I'm whipping it sometimes, it's a good chance to get some extra breaths and breathe some, and it's relaxing.
And spectators, what do they think of triple jumps?
Just seeing how far they can go and if they can make it with staying on and not falling off and stuff.
Oh, yeah, triples. In fact, our seats are right by the triples.
They just get big air and going fast, flying through the air, and they always wave to the crowd and stuff.
In crashes, it's funny to watch.
Flying 70 to 80 feet through the air and 30 or 40 feet high, I can handle that. The part I can't handle is the landing.
Dave, I would point out that back in the old days, Bob Hanna's the guy that started all that triple jumping and waving at the crowd.
Well, the operative words there are old days. Here we go to the Supercross format, how they're going to qualify for tonight. In a moment, we'll show you the highlights of two heat races from which the top 4 move up. Non-qualifiers go to the semis. Top 5 transfer from there to the main event. Last chance will take the top 2 riders to make it a 20-rider feature here this evening. That's where the big money will be paid, and also, most importantly, the points toward the Camel Championship. Here are the highlights from heat race number 1, and there was a little surprise at the drop of the gate here. Anaheim, as we said, is a track that has often introduced new talent moment, and we'll see number 102, Chris Young, getting himself a hole shot here, while number 20, Chris Palmer, finds himself with nowhere to go. Question is how long Young can stay out front before he melts down here, Larry.
Well, unfortunately, not long enough to make the main event. Chris Young is going to be passed. As a matter of fact, he's being zapped already. Mike Kidrowski doing the honors, and he'll go on and win this heat race.
The big number 3 out front. Kidrowski still looking for that first Supercross championship win. We've mentioned repeatedly, as a matter of fact, that this is a contact sport. Clunk. That's number 6, Jeff Hemming, into the side of Steve
That's
Lamson.
how you win friends and influence people. Lamson comes right back, returns the favor. Meanwhile, Jeremy McGrath says, thank you very much. We'll take another look. It's called a block pass. Now, Lamson had a choice. He could have hit the brakes. Instead, he chose to run right into the side of Emig, and watch coming up, he's going to pay him back.
But look at 15 over here on the side. McGrath knows what's going on. He says, those guys are messing with each other. They're leaving me the racetrack. I'm going to take over the spot, thank you very much, because I'm most concerned about getting the position and making it into the main event.
We'll watch what happens here. Not over yet. The two riders collide one more time in the corner. Looked like Lamson was maybe doing what they call a brake check. That's where you hit the brake. The guy behind you has nowhere to go, runs into you, loses all of his momentum.
Here's the key point. These two guys are racing for 4th. That's the last transfer to the main event. Mike LaRocco, number 5, wants 4th. He doesn't care about any grudge match between these two. He whips his way past Emig, sets his sights on Lamson. But watch what happens here when they get into the whoop-de-doos. Clunk into the side of Lamson, almost crashes, loses the spot.
So LaRocco has to go to work all over again. I think he's learned right now, though, that he wants to avoid those two guys if at all possible.
Well, I think the important point is that those two guys would have never been in that situation if they hadn't got all caught up in racing each other. LaRocco's focused. He knows this is for transfer. He's not worried about grudge matches. He makes a clean pass on Emig, sets his sights on the youngster Lamson in his first year with Team Honda. I would predict the team managers will have some words with Lamson and with Emig as LaRocco goes through, takes the transfer, and leaves those two guys in the semifinal.
Now, the first 4 slots are already picked, but watch this. Emig and Lamson are not through with each other yet. They still manage to get together a couple more times to compare notes. Lamson does not want to be passed, and Emig takes care of it. He gets the last word. Just bang, thunks him off the track.
Pretty good action. Meanwhile, the charging LaRocco goes after Kalos. We've seen this time after time this year. LaRocco gets the bad start, then puts on the big charge. Kalos, trying to hold his own, gives up the good line. Rocco sees the traffic ahead, and that becomes the key issue. Who's going to come through with the spot?
Side by side around a racetrack where really there is not all that much room. There never is in Supercross. And to see two riders dueling side by side is an exceptional show.
Give Kalos credit here. LaRocco's been the fast guy in the series of late, and Sean's holding him at bay for the moment and just seems to be every place LaRocco wants to go.
He has the good lines. LaRocco, though, not following. He's doing what you have to do in Supercross if you want to make your way to the front, and that is pick new lines, and that is exactly what LaRocco is doing.
See how easy it is when you're up front? You can pick any line you want. Kidrowski wins the race, while Kalos and LaRocco take the battle all the way to the wire. Who's going to get that 4th spot? It will be Kalos, and you can bet that LaRocco's a little frustrated by that. Jeremy McGrath was an easy 2nd place finisher as we look at the 4 transfer spots and then head trackside to hear from Kidrowski.
Last couple of weeks were a little smooth, a little wide open track. This week was a lot more technical. Is it better for you?
Yeah, I think my Kawasaki's work a little bit better. We've been doing a lot of stuff since last year on our bikes, so our Supercross track, test track's a lot tighter and stuff, and I think this adapts better to our bike, so I like it a lot.
Do you have to get a good start here to win tonight in the main?
I think a good start's going to help a lot because it's real tight, and I think there's going to be a lot of slamming. If you can get out front, just ride your own pace and get away and ride comfortable.
All right, good luck in the main, Mike.
Thank you.
For the record, 55,817 fans cheered for Mike Kidrowski and also for Guy Cooper, the winner of the Mickey Thompson Award of Excellence. The late Mickey Thompson, remembered with the presentation there by his sister Colleen Campbell. Guy Cooper's popularity among the fans, the key reason that he received that award. Here he takes a parade lap for the fans tonight at Anaheim, and Bob Hanna takes a look at why he's so popular.
Thanks, Dave. When the pits are open to the spectators, the largest crowd is usually gathered behind Guy Cooper's truck. On the track, no rider gets the attention that Guy Cooper does. Guy, what do you think attracts the fans to you?
I don't know what the combination is. It seems like a good one, though. It's my 10th year on the national circuit, and being 31 and the old-timer, It seems like that they appreciate what I've been through. You know, I started off as a privateer rider and driving to the races and stuff, and I've met a lot of people all over the United States and a lot of friendly people out there. And the more they cheer, it seems like the higher I jump or the flatter I go. So it's a good combination, it really is.
All right. Well, those are guys' thoughts. Let's see what the spectators say.
Guy Cooper. He catches the baddest air.
The other riders, you can't find them out by the truck. They're always hidden in the truck or whatever. You can't find them. But he's been out here the last hour signing autographs, and I appreciate that.
He's just so fast. He should just stay around as long as he can.
Oh, I like the way he just hangs it out. He just goes for broke, and he does what he has to do. He pleases the crowd, and he gets the job done.
Guy, you haven't made an official announcement, but rumors say that this might be your last year.
Well, they've been saying that for 4 years now. At 31, I still enjoy it. I love the sport, and I might be around a couple more years. I don't know.
Well, for one, I hope you stay around a long time. I like watching you. Back up to you guys.
All right, thank you, Hurricane, and congratulations, Coop. And now we go to the highlights of the second qualifying race. We'll get a chance to see Cooper in action for real here as we look for 4 more riders in the championship main event, and Jeff Stanton grabs himself a hole shot. He who has been called less than aggressive in defense of his championship this year gets away with the lead. Cooper is there in 4th spot with a little catching up to do.
Well, 2 points I would make. First, from the non-aggressive to the aggressive is Damon Bradshaw, and he has a lot of catching up to do. Watch his style as he works his way through the pack. He'll shovel off riders. He'll bounce off hay bales. It really doesn't matter. He does what it takes to get the job done. It's going to create problems for him, though, as this race goes on. You'll see that some of that contact, I think, maybe dislodged his shift lever. He's going to be pounding on it, and just there he goes, looking down. He's got some kind of a problem with a motorcycle. It's not running properly, and it was a result of all of that contact.
Well, he was in the middle of a tremendous pack of traffic. There's not a lot of passing room, not a lot of passing lanes on this racetrack. If you got 2 guys in front of you, there's no place to go. Brian Lunas says, man, who needed this? Meanwhile, look what happens up front. Michael Craig puts a clean pass on Jeff Stanton, who reacts in less than championship form by punting a hay bale.
Last 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that does not happen. Stanton is riding differently than he has in the past, and these first couple of laps are where it really tells. He's letting himself be pushed around. Now, Cooper made the pass on Stanton. Now, he blasts right by Craig. He takes over the #1 position.
We said Cooper had catching up to do. He did it well. There goes a tear off as he has moved from 4th to lead the race, and Craig says, I just don't know how the old guy does it. I guess maybe I'm stuck with 2nd spot. Stanton fell to 3rd, but not for long. Watch how he repasses Craig in the same spot where Craig passed him a lap before. But the guy I want you to watch for is number 19, Brian Swink. Here's 12, Matasevich, trying to take Swink to the bales. Swink will have none of it, survives the block pass, cuts inside, takes over 4th. That's a transfer spot, and that's not the last we're going to see of the kid.
Good to point out that they're 2 Suzuki teammates, Matasevich and Swink are, but apparently they have not talked to each other this year because they're riding like they're on separate teams.
Well, Swink has yet to demonstrate the kind of performance that his rival Jeremy McGrath has in the season this year, but he's certainly performing here as he goes after Michael Craig, works himself into passing position, and gets up to 3rd. Swink was the Eastern Regional Champion 2 years running, and McGrath was the Western Regional Champ 2 years running, and everybody expected kind of a matchup between the two. Look how tight it is now among Cooper, Stanton, and Swink. Was Swink the man on the move? Goes after his Michigan running mate Jeff Stanton and drops him to 3rd spot just like that. The rookie against the champion, and the rookie wins it.
Now, Swink has been fast all year, has not gotten the starts. Now, watch this finish coming up. Talk about teammates hammering each other and going at each other. Cooper is in the lead. Here comes Swink, and watch this. Off the side of the jump, Cooper tries to knock him off the motorcycle with that sideways clicker, I swear.
What an amazing finish. A couple of inches apart, Cooper beats Swink. The teammates drop Stanton to 3rd. Here's Bob Hanna.
Nice ride, Guy. When you caught Jeff and passed him, that's getting to be a habit. When he pulled back up on you, were you riding defensively or offensively?
Well, this track is so tight that I was trying to get smooth in all my lines. And although I was on the inside riding smooth, I could see him out of the corner of my eye going on the outside. But he had to travel 30, maybe even 50 feet farther than me. And I knew if I just mellowed, rode smooth, he wasn't going to be able to pass me. It went back into one line. If I was behind, I'd be doing the same thing. You know, it's really frustrating trying to pass. You just have to have a couple of spots around there that you can jump or do something to get around the guy. it's not a track for passing on the corners unless you want to be not respectful to the other rider, because it's going to be bar banging for the main event. I guarantee you, it's so tight out here, it's going to be rough.
Well, whatever technique you use that in the main. Let's see a Guy Cooper win.
I sure would like to see it.
Good luck. Thanks.
Sean Nally has done his work well. Mike Kudrowski has won the fastest heat of the night. Cooper won the other one. We'll be back in a moment. Back in the Kawasaki pits, Mike LaRocco preparing for the main event after an impressive ride in the heat.
Here's the difference between a guy that makes it in his heat race and goes directly to the main, and we're going to take a look at a rider that is going to go through the semi. Just take a look at the attitudes. Mike is happy. Now watch this guy.
Damon Bradshaw anything but happy after failing to transfer out of the heat. Flings the motorcycle up on the stand. Either doesn't hear or ignores a young fan, and then talks to our Bruce Penhall.
Damon, you didn't have the greatest of starts. Did you crash, and you know who it was with?
Oh, no, just a couple riders that it's the same ones all the time, but, you know, it's racing.
Now, what do you have? You have the last chance or the semifinals to possibly go into the main event?
Yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to ride that.
Motorcycle okay?
Yeah, it's okay. We just been up a couple things, but we'll be ready.
How's the confidence?
Pretty good. You know, it's just a matter of riding another race.
Thanks, Damon.
Thanks.
Meanwhile, in the Suzuki truck, Brian Swink experimenting with a new method to get rid of arm pump. That's when you hang out of the bike so hard that your forearms swell up, the blood does not circulate. It's like a brick, very difficult to ride. Bruce Penhall talked to Swink.
Brian, what was the idea for the tape on the forearms? You had your forearms up and they were taping them. What's the idea behind that?
It's just something new we're trying, you know, just trying to relax my arms in between the motos, just so I can be more relaxed for the main.
Are the forearms pumped up and this reduces the oxidation?
Yeah, a little bit.
It works, I guess.
Well, it's kind of a new thing I'm trying. I hope it works. I don't know yet.
Good luck in the main event.
All right, thanks a lot.
You got to try that, Myers. I notice your arms pump up from gripping that microphone so tight when you see finishes like that one we saw with Cooper a minute ago. We're going to go to the semifinal action now. We'll have to wait to the main event to see if the arm pump technique works here for Swink. Here's the start and a challenge for the television viewer. Ignore the back of the pack where the unidentified Kawasaki rider disappears into the hay bales, and watch Koji Okawara up front going face first into the Anaheim dirt. What happened, I believe, is that Koji got his front wheel taken out from under him, and he hit literally face first. He's the only Japanese rider riding the entire circuit. The good news is he came back in good shape.
Well, in better shape, rider number 17 is Larry Brooks. 48, Jeremy Buell. They're dueling for the last two transfer positions. As a matter of fact, if Buell makes the pass, they're both in. They have nothing to worry about except keeping it upright. Rider number 6 out front. That's Jeff Emig. Steve Lamson right behind him.
Don't I remember Jeff Emig and Steve Lamson from earlier in the evening? Here is number 20, Cliff Palmer, the arena cross specialist, who has himself a transfer spot by virtue of a third-place ride. Emig decided that he wants nothing to do with Lamson in the semi. He leaves him behind, puts his Yamaha out front. Lamson equally spectacular en route to second place. Palmer, Buell, and Brooks get the rest of the transfer positions. Let's go trackside to Bob Hanna.
Jeff Emig, that's kind of a hard way to get to the main event. Some riders like being able to ride a semi and some don't. Well, I guess I could look at it, you know, like in a positive way, that it was good. You know, some of the lines have changed, and I figured out some things that I didn't know, you know, like in my heat race. You know, to improve my lap times. I think it's really going to pay off in the main. So a little extra practice may help you tonight. Yeah, I'm a little winded now. I didn't really ride as smooth as I like to, but you know, I'm going to go for it in the main. You know, I'm here, you know, like in front of my hometown crowd, I guess. So I'm going for it. Good luck. Thanks, Bob.
And we're going for the highlights of semi number 2 to find out if Damon Bradshaw can get a little better jump off the gate this time. He got stuck back in the traffic and was unhappy about it in the qualifying heat race. This time number 8 is right up front as the field breaks through turn 1. But Denny Stevenson is alongside, and Stevenson stuck right with him, stuck it right to him.
Well, the difference here is Damon Bradshaw went back to his truck after watching Brian Swink. He wrapped his arms in red tape, and all of a sudden, voila, he gets a good start.
I'll tell you is secrets of the trade. They learn from each other. Give number 32, Buddy Antonez, a call. And watch Jimmy Button, 25, taking the 22 of Eric Kehoe to the bales. And that kind of sets off a chain reaction here as things get just a little crowded on what has been called a one-line racetrack. Emerging up front, though, Stevenson keeps Bradshaw at bay. That's a surprise.
He doesn't. Bradshaw is not worried at this particular point in time. He knows he can take the measure of Stevenson, and so what if he does not? He's still going to make it into the main event. All he wants to do is avoid the problems, the complications going on around him as riders continually bump each other.
Buddy Antonez, I think, fancies himself passing both Bradshaw and Stevenson here. Bradshaw gets by, takes the lead as Antonez comes up to make it a three-man battle and takes the measure of Stevenson by just grabbing the good line. I think he wants to get up there and race with Damon Bradshaw.
I think so, and if I'm Stevenson, I'm going to say, hey, go ahead, pal. I want to make it to the main. I really don't care to do any more bumping out here than I have to.
And if I'm Bradshaw, I got to think twice about whether I want to race that guy. Here's Kehoe. Look at this. Now see, there's a little bad blood. Button's an interesting story. He's an East Coast 125 rider. Suzuki likes the kid, hired him to ride the 250 out west here to get some experience for the future, and he's mixing it up pretty good with Kehoe.
I'm not sure what that move was all about. He came to a stop on the track like he had either lost his bearings, lost his direction, or wondered what Kehoe was going to do next. Meanwhile, Bradshaw just rolls over the finish line.
Kind of like a stock car short track race. Look at the 22. Got the fender beat off the back as Kehoe comes up a bike length short of Stevenson in their race for third and fourth. The transfers go to Bradshaw, Antonez, Stevenson, Kehoe, and Matasevich. Here's Bob Hanna.
Damon, we expect you to win that semi. What happened in your qualifier?
I just got off to a bad start, and when you got a track like this to race on, we have to ride semis. You know, it's kind of hard out there to pass, but looks like tonight the whole shot's going to be the name of the game.
Bad start in the main. Is just a give-up situation?
Well, when you're as far back as I was, it's not actually a give-up situation. It's just a matter of being able, if there's room on the racetrack, to make time. Or not necessarily make time, but pass, which there isn't tonight.
Are there going to be some bar banging here tonight?
Yeah, most probably.
Bradshaw bound for the main. Last chance qualifier Chris Young is too. Chris, by the way, is an expectant father waiting for the phone call here tonight, indicating that he may already be a father. Here is the battle for the last transfer spot. 34 Keith Johnson, number 9 Larry Ward. Little contact between these two guys. First it is Ward up into the hay bales, then watch what follows as number 34 Johnson is currently second, and that's the last transfer. Ward wants desperately to get around him and make his way into the main event. And thus do we see the moment in which Ward achieves that. They come up into the berm and clang right into the chain, which pops off Johnson's motorcycle and leaves him stopped, and Ward gets the spot and Young gets the win. And so the final two positions are set for tonight's main event, and Keith Johnson is going home empty-handed, victim of a broken chain after contact on the racetrack. Larry Ward is the 20th fastest man here at Anaheim tonight. That's good enough to put him into the main event. Sometimes the best place to watch these Supercross races is on TV. We'll be right back. Time for main event action here at Anaheim, the 125 championship feature. Interesting sidebar. We've got some international riders who have come here to take part this evening. Three of them have made the main event. They'll be hard-pressed, I think, to keep up with the best of the Americans who are battling for championship points here.
Yeah, I don't think that's their objective, Dave. They have learned in the past that by competing with the Americans in Supercross, that it betters their skills. They come here, they go home a better rider.
Time for the drop of the gate and the charge to turn number 1. A tough track to pass on. The whole shot is critical. Let's see who's going to get to the first turn first. They traffic jam through, and bursting from the pack is number 69, Jimmy Gaddis. He got a great start, and look how that translates into a gap on the racetrack. Gaddis coming off a victory last week. Once you get the big momentum on your side, things really go your way.
Now, last week was a combined East and West 125cc regional championship event. This week, it's just the Western riders, so Gaddis only has to put up with half of the good guys that he did 1 week ago. He's out front making hay while the proverbial sun shines. Meanwhile, back in the pack, the guy that figures to challenge him, number 31, Phil Lawrence is caught up in traffic.
And he's still got that price tag off those goggles that we saw last week. Now, you said that was a trend among the younger riders. I can't help but note that Phil's the only guy out there who has the price tag.
I guess it's safe to assume he's not much of a trendsetter, is he?
All right, you want to keep your eye out here for Damon Huffman, number 86. You get glimpses of him. He's up into early contention. There is Damon, currently running in third spot, as factory Phil Lawrence makes the big charge on the number 31. But Gaddis got away quickly and is opening up a nice separation on second place. Lawrence moves cleanly into third, and that's going to drop number 180, Scott Myers, into the battle of his life here for fourth, fifth, and sixth. We'll take a look at it. The challengers moving up are number 88, most notably. That's Tommy Clowers, half out of control, but making steady progress toward the front, and he's joined by number 141, Craig Decker.
Well, Decker and Clowers have something in common. They're working their way toward the front of the pack. Myers, on the other hand, rider number 180, working his way toward the rear of the pack. That's not where you want to be throughout this whole thing. The rider we need to look for, though, as you pointed out a moment ago, Damon Huffman, rider number 86 out of Canyon Country, California. Rides for American Suzuki, and right now he's putting that Suzuki into the number 1 spot. Found a good line underneath Jimmy Gaddis. I'm not sure Gaddis even knew he was there. Now Gaddis knows he's there. He's trying to storm back.
And look how he retaliated. Looked pretty effective, but Huffman, at the age of 16, gets the lead with the sneak attack. Imagine how he's going to feel if he can hang on and win this race in front of 55,000 people, well, all from right around his hometown of Canyon Country, California. Gaddis, meanwhile, gives up the ghost, or is it the fact that Phil Lawrence is coming so hard?
I think Gaddis made one mistake, and I think he's worrying about that mistake, and it allowed him to go on and make another one. Gaddis was favored coming into this race, and things are not working out his way. Again, it's that learning experience, the learning curve that you get in the 125cc class.
Fist in the air for Damon Huffman, who wins his first Supercross victory. Phil Lawrence closing to second, but the big news is the youngster, and you'll meet him in a moment. Damon Huffman of the American Suzuki team leads the sweep. The celebration is on for the kid. All the fans are on their feet cheering for a new star of the future in Supercross competition, and here he comes, headed for victory lane, where he'll meet Bob Hanna. Take a look at the results. It's Lawrence, Gaddis, Clowers, and Decker rounding out the top 5 in the standings. Back through 10, Goodman, Pichon, Gonzalez, Crum, and Smale. Let's meet the new hero.
Damon, your first Supercross win ever. How do you feel?
Oh, it's great. You know, with backed by Team Suzuki, you know, they gave me all the support in the world, and they couldn't have done better work with my mechanic, Mark Johnson, and I'd like to thank my dad especially. You know, it's been hard for him for not being my mechanic, but I'm sure he's happy.
When you get a lead like that, do you start thinking of problems that you could have, and the bike may break, may make a mistake?
I try not to, but, you know, you still think of those things, and I just concentrate at my hardest, and, oh, man, it's great.
Well, you look good. Good luck next week.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Welcome to the big leagues. Damon Huffman of Canyon Country, California. Let's hear from the runner-up, Phil Lawrence.
Yeah, I got a pretty good start. It wasn't that bad, so I just got it by a few riders, and it took me a while to get Gaddis, but after I got him, Damon was pretty far up front. And I started just slow it down a little bit just to play it safe, because I want the championship more than each individual race. But that's not the way to win a championship. I should have charged the whole way, and I didn't. And Damon rode a good race. He won.
Take a look at the series standings. Gaddis still on top by a point over Lawrence. Huffman moves up to third with the first victory of his career at the age of 16. He is not allowed to drink champagne. That is not a big problem. He knows exactly what to do with this stuff. We'll be back with the 250 main event.
5, 4, 3.
On the floor of Anaheim Stadium, the field getting set for the main event. The 20 men at the starting gate, each making a fashion statement as they prepare for battle here. The headgear used to be all about safety. Here's Bruce Penhall.
The single most important piece of safety gear on the rider is the helmet. Obviously, it protects the head from one of those inevitable crashes that do occur. But up until a few years ago, the helmet was just protection. Now, it goes way beyond protection. The helmet is a work of art, one that Rembrandt or Picasso would certainly be proud of in his day.
We gotta have our numbers on for AMA. That's gotta be on there.
And on the back, it's kind of cool to have your name signed on the back and a little number on the back also. And then on the top, we got my sponsors. We got Extreme. They make clothes. So we have the helmet painted, color coordinated with the clothes that I wear. And the reason they're painted so much is because you don't want to have your helmets looking like whatever Joe Schmo can go buy. You want to have something that is special and that you know you spend a lot of time into.
Yeah, this is my sister's outfit.
This is my brother's helmet. He crashed so many times it's cracking.
And so resplendent in their high-dollar hats, the 28 fastest men of the night are gathered at the starting gate with more important things to worry about.
You know, I'm not so sure that's an accurate statement. If I had just paid $250 to have my helmet painted, I'd be concerned about, A, hitting the starting gate with it by falling over backwards. Certainly, I would not want to go into that first corner with a whole bunch of other riders.
Check out number 5, Mike LaRocco. Note the left wrist, another piece of equipment. He's riding with a brace. That wrist has been injured off and on for the last couple of years, and it hinders his movement a little bit off the starting line. Here's Jeff Stanton with his mechanic, Danny Bentley, and he remains the big question mark.
Indeed, he remains a question mark. He has not exhibited any of the qualities that you would expect from a champion who is riding to garner a 4th Supercross title.
He hasn't been aggressive, and yet Stanton doesn't seem concerned about it. He seems content with his position in the standings, and who's going to argue with the guy who pulled the fat from the fire in the last race of last year? We're just about set for the drop of the gate.
You know, and I think, Dave, that's still on his mind, and I think that he thinks the end of this season it's going to be he and Bradshaw, and he'll do the same thing.
The gate is down. The charge is on. The Anaheim Supercross is underway. Stanton's got a good start. Kehoe on the outside challenges and then bobbles. Cased it on the jump, and that's going to drop him back to 3rd. Jeremy McGrath squirts through to 2nd spot. Back in the traffic are Cooper, Bradshaw, and a host more as the charge is on. Lap 1, and a big move by Michael Craig. Number 24 will take him to 4th. Jeff Stanton, aggressive as hell.
I had no sooner get through explaining to you that Stanton's not riding like a champion. He just bolts to the front of the pack, and I think right now that he's thinking, leave these guys. Let me get out front. Maybe we're seeing a turnaround.
Stanton knew the time had come. Meanwhile, Kehoe continues to impress with good starts. He's tended to melt down, though, after getting those good starts in previous Supercross events. Right now, he rides 3rd. The Honda teammates are out front. Stanton, McGrath, Kehoe. 4th is Michael Craig. 5th is Buddy Antunez, and I run out of fingers and toes before I find Damon Bradshaw.
Thing to look at here, the 2 Honda riders are out front all by themselves. Now, the rest of the riders you would expect that would challenge them for that position. I'm talking about Kidrowski. We're looking for Damon Bradshaw, Guy Cooper, Mike LaRocco. They're all in the back part of the pack. So this is an opportunity for them to break free of traffic and really put the moves and the hurts on the rest of the field.
Love that variety of signs on the first lap. There's not a whole lot you can convey except attack, go to the front, get busy, do your homework. The question, I think, right now, same one we raised at the top of the show. Which of these guys has the stuff? Stanton is the veteran. McGrath is the rookie. The two of them are out front together. We'll be right back.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
The Suzuki Intruder.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Why is it always the same old story? Why ask why? Try a less filling beer with a lot more taste. Bud Dry. When it comes to a great beer, we wrote the book.
General Nutrition Centers can help you open the door to reach a new you. With Twin Lab Gainers Fuel 2500. Get 2,500 low-fat, high-powered calories per serving. Fire up your workouts with Gainers Fuel 2500 at GNC.
When the camera starts to roll, even one flake of dandruff can ruin it all. That's why I use Head & Shoulders. You know, it's even better than it was just a couple of years ago. Today, it gets to 10 times more of the places dandruff starts. Because great hair can't have flakes.
How far will your money go in buying an Intruder 800? Introducing Suzuki Get On It Flexible Financing. Want to see it again? Other programs include 0 down, low monthly payments, and first-time buyer. Get on it.
Back at Anaheim, where the champ, Jeff Stanton, leads round 3 of the Supercross Series. We talked about fast guys in the back. Let's note that Mike LaRocco, in desperate search of that first good start of the year, was dead last through the first turn. He's playing catch-up again. So, too, is Jeremy McGrath. He's narrowed that margin down on the senior member of the team, Jeff Stanton. Whoa! Shoots to the inside. McGrath makes the pass and makes it look easy.
I was about to cut in on you and say, I don't think, Dave, you'll see McGrath trying to pass Stanton. He's the rookie, the young guy on Team Honda, and you don't do that to the national champ. You don't put your teammate in any kind of danger, but I guess actually he didn't. Stanton gave him a lane to drive through that you could have put a semi in.
It is not the first time we've seen Jeremy McGrath up front. He's led every race this year. The question has to be, can he sustain it against Stanton?
Well, and that's a very good question, and one that we'll really not know the answer to until the checkered flag is thrown. My guess, based on past experiences, that he's going to fade toward the latter part of the race, and I have to think that's what Stanton is considering while he's out there at this particular time, because Stanton is not working hard to catch back up, not working hard to repass McGrath.
Let's talk about these two guys. We talk about the rookie McGrath against the veteran Stanton. In fact, they're only 2 years difference in age. McGrath is 22. Stanton, getting the pit sign, rather frantic indeed, from Danny Bentley, is 24 years old. But Stanton's been winning championships, it seems, forever, and McGrath's just emerged of late.
We'll talk about Jeremy McGrath in just a second. First, let's check the progress of Damon Bradshaw. He's moved up to the number 7 position, chasing Buddy Antunez as he works through the pack. McGrath, Dave, has not had the experience in motorcycling that Stanton or Bradshaw has had. He never got through the mini bike ranks. He started his career racing BMX, bicycle motocross. He made the transfer over to the motors and has done extremely well.
We see Kehoe, Kadrowski, and Craig running in 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot. An alliterative battle for position there. And number 22, Kehoe, appears to be under the most pressure from Kadrowski. Stanton closes up the interval a little bit, but as you pointed out earlier, the Honda team are up and gone. Here's Kadrowski looking for the inside line. Has he got it? No, he can't get inside Eric Kehoe. And so Earthquake hangs on to the spot. I begin to get the feeling that Earthquake is holding him up a little bit.
That's the name of the game, isn't it? When you're in front of someone, you just don't give him that line, although if you're Mike Kadrowski, you're going to take it one way or another. Kadrowski takes over the number 3 position.
Kehoe falls to 4th. Mike Kadrowski, as we said earlier, still looking for that Supercross win. You keep thinking it's got to happen soon. He has run up front so much, and yet has not been able to sustain it for the full 20 laps and get to the checkered flag first. Kehoe's keeping his pace and not letting them get away. Michael Craig back in 5th has not mounted any kind of a charge, and so Kadrowski from 3rd will try to go after the Honda guys up front, and we keep waiting for glimpses of A. Bradshaw and B. Mike LaRocco, who once again is turning in a tremendous charge.
And Eric Kehoe starting to get just a little bit sloppy. We had a glimpse of him as he got sideways on the racetrack. You know, Mike Kadrowski's situation, let me tell you, and there is Bradshaw now coming into play. But just quickly, Kadrowski has won a pair of 125 national championships. He has won a 500 championship, yet has not won that Supercross victory.
Bradshaw looking inside now on Kehoe as he gets up to 6th spot. And looking at the 5th place man trying to crack the top 5. I got to tell you, I thought Damon Bradshaw would come out this year, win about 5 races in a row, and turn this thing into a rout. It hasn't happened. How come?
Yeah, well, it goes back to that physical conditioning. Bradshaw is not 100%. I don't care what he says. He's been off the motorcycle for like 6 months, and he just isn't ready to ride for a full 20 laps.
We'll be right back. Back in Anaheim, we talk about those who have impressed and those who have not this season. I'm impressed with Michael Craig, number 24, having his best Supercross campaign ever. And Damon Bradshaw is going to take the measure of him right here as Craig clips a bale and falls back a little bit. But he has run top 5 several times this year, won a couple of heat races. Bradshaw, meanwhile, on the move. Got a new nickname. They're calling him Rawhide now.
No reference to the TV series. It references the business that Bradshaw is in other than motorcycle racing. He races horses.
And quite successfully, from what we understand. Picked that up from his mother, I believe. That's your top 5 battle going on right there. And we begin to get glimpses of Mike LaRocco from dead last. He's doing it again. Number 5, LaRocco, sings up along the inside of his teammate, and he won't make an attempted block pass on a teammate, Michael Craig. But the key thing is LaRocco's speed. He's had it all year. He won the opener in Orlando. He hasn't been able to buy a start since then. And man, does he pass people.
I said last week that he has been the fastest rider on the racetrack, and it looks to me like he's the fastest out there tonight. He has really gained on the field. An unbelievable ride, a 3rd week in a row for Mike LaRocco.
Damon Bradshaw badmouthed this racetrack on the PA earlier as being difficult to pass on. I think Mike LaRocco, who has now passed 16 riders in the main event, probably makes the opposite case.
Well, LaRocco is on a roll. He started early to pass riders, and I think as he goes along, he picks up the speed, and he's running at the clip to make the passes. The rest of the guys have kind of settled into their place in line, and they're willing to stay there. LaRocco is not. That's the difference.
Craig's lost another spot to number 12, Jeff Matasevich, former Kawasaki rider who has switched to Suzuki this year. Here's your top 5 as we get set for a finish. We're back at Anaheim, where Jeremy McGrath, the 250 class rookie, is answering the early race questions about his abilities to sustain the speed. Skip Norfolk, his mechanic, I think senses victory here.
I think he thinks he's going to do it, and I'm going to tell you, he's starting to make a believer out of me. I frankly thought somewhere around lap 10, lap 12, he was going to pull back just a little bit, and Stanton would sweep into the lead. It's not happening.
Look at this, LaRocco +0. That is the signal from an obviously upset Brian Lunnis to his man Damon Bradshaw, and the 0 means LaRocco is right alongside, and I don't think Damon needed a pit board to tell him that. LaRocco goes by, having come from dead last to pass the man who set a record for race victories in a single season last year. Mike LaRocco, again the man on the move at Anaheim. And we've said it to the point that it becomes a cliche. If he ever gets a hole shot, you can empty the stadium because he'll be out of there.
Let's not leave the audience with a misconception here. Damon Bradshaw still is not riding 100%. I've made that point a couple of times. I'll make it again. Bradshaw is not riding as good as you will see him ride as this series progresses. He's going to get that conditioning back, Dave. He'll get that timing down, and he's going to be a threat.
Charge from Guy Cooper, who's been struggling at the tail end of the top 10 here tonight, but sure is fun to watch. He is as spectacular here tonight, racing Steve Lamson for 7th spot as he was a week ago at Houston when he out-jumped Jeff Stanton, splattered a hay bale, and finished 2nd. Cooper is always spectacular.
And the best seat in the house belongs to Steve Lamson as he watches the antics of Guy Cooper make his way around this very difficult Anaheim track. And I think one more rider is telling the rest of the field that, hey, you can pass out here. At least Cooper and LaRocco are getting the job done.
I think Lamson deserves a call coming back from the broken leg last year. He's been pretty impressive. Cooper, of course, is in the same boat. He broke a femur last year in an outdoor national late in the year. I thought he'd quit. He's come back strong as ever.
You would think at 30 years of age that you would have had enough racing by now, but Cooper looking for that first Supercross win, and he says, hey, I'm not going to quit until I get it.
Yeah, I was impressed with that interview earlier. I thought he'd be done at the end of the year. Here is the leader, and he is gone. Jeremy McGrath may win this thing. Well, forget the knock on Jeremy McGrath that he's led, but he's melded down every week. The winner of the fastest heat race the last couple of times out is going to be the winner of the main event here at Anaheim. With 1 lap to go, he is not even challenged.
Let me get this in quickly. In 1 lap, he will join the likes of David Bailey, Damon Bradshaw, Bob Hanna, Donnie Hansen, Kent Howerton, Galen Mosier, Johnny O'Mara. They all picked Anaheim Stadium in which to win their first ever Supercross main event.
How many past champions did I count in there? 3 or 4 anyway.
More than one.
McGrath waving to the crowd, obviously comes from good stock here, following a tradition of new stars born in Anaheim. He is about to take the checkered flag. He passed Jeff Stanton and simply ran away from him. We kept waiting for Stanton to mount the counterattack that never came, and so the rookie will win the first one by a big margin.
Yeah, my apologies to Jeremy and his entire family and all of his followers. I really thought, Dave, that he was going to slack it off there, but it's not happening. Either that or Stanton never got a charge mounted. I'm not sure which is which.
I think one of the differences may be the fact that McGrath has simply had the opportunity to learn how to run up front. Look, he's confident now. I'm going to style for you folks in Anaheim as he takes the flag in front of 55,000. Stanton comes up and does a little clicker of his own. He's content with second spot, but McGrath is the man of the moment. He had led long enough that he finally got comfortable. He complained of arm pump before, but had no problem tonight. He has won it.
A flashback. This is Skip Norfolk as Jeremy McGrath is crossing the finish line. Skip is the mechanic. Who's happier, Skip or Jeremy?
You saw the sign earlier, me and you. Well, that was me, and here's you. Jeremy McGrath is on his way to victory lane for the first time in his career. The 22-year-old former bicycle racer comes out on top over Stanton, Kedrowski, LaRocco, and Bradshaw. Rounding out the top 10 are Matasevich, Cooper, Craig, Ward, and Lamson. Bob Hanna's with the winner.
Jeremy, I want to back up a couple weeks. You've had good starts, but you faded a little bit. What was different this week?
Well, you know, like I said before, I was getting some arm pump, and this week, you know, maybe it was a little bit more relaxed. Shoot, I felt better than I ever have this whole season. You know, the bikes are great. Team Honda's giving me the backing. You know, I just couldn't have done it without them and my family and my mechanic, Skip Norfolk.
You knew you were talented, and obviously I knew you were talented, but did you think it was going to come this early?
Well, a lot of people were razzing me about fading the last 2 weeks. You know, who's to say if it's going to happen again? I feel that I'm in shape. You know, I feel the only thing that was holding me back was arm pump. And today, you know, I settled a little bit behind Jeff, and then I just went ahead and went by. And I just stayed smooth, really, you know. There's nothing special.
There was certainly no fading this week. That's a fantastic ride. Keep it up.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Jeremy McGrath's win tonight vaults him to third in the series standings. Look at this. 3 points separate the top 5. Let's go to Bruce Penhall.
Jeff, you proved it last year. You didn't need to win that many races to still win the national championship. It's early in the season.
It's early in the season, but, you know, I want to win all these races, all the races I can. So still got some work to do. Young guys riding good.
You had a very good start, and did the track let you down, or do you think the young little buck was just ready for this win?
I think he was ready. He was riding good. I mean, just wasn't quite crisp and wasn't quite ready. He rode good.
Do you still learn after each time you get on the racetrack?
Definitely. If you think you're done learning, you might as well quit. You know, I learned a lot here tonight, and I'll take that into Seattle tomorrow.
Good job. Good job, Jeff.
Thanks.
About 30 seconds to wrap things up as the fans head for home. Larry, what'd you think of this one?
Obviously, McGrath was extremely impressive. He's here. He's for real. Bradshaw is going to get faster as the year goes on. Stanton, I don't know what to think. We have not seen the real Jeff Stanton, and I don't know at this point, Dave, if we are going to.
I would add a call for the other Damon, the new Damon, another first-time winner here tonight, Damon Huffman, who won the 125 class. Our congratulations to all the winners, especially to Jeremy McGrath. For Bruce Penhall and Bob Hanna trackside, Larry Myers in the booth, I'm Dave Despain. We'll see you next week in Seattle.